League baseball history. The Pats have a lot of notable free agents. Brady's obviously going to dominate the headlines in that regard, an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his career. And they have a lot of needs, Tim. So big picture, how do you see this playing out?
Well, I mean, I think if you're going to make a decision on Tom Brady, that has to be kind of independent of everything else that's going on in terms of the needs of your football team. Yeah, I think you said it, Hannah. I mean, what's going to dominate this is Tom Brady going to be there? And that also could impact whether or not other people want to go and be a part of that organization. It just doesn't feel like it's Tom Brady's decision, which, like, I guess shouldn't surprise us. I mean, we've seen Joe Montana finish elsewhere, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, a lot of great players at the quarterback position that had to go finish somewhere else. So it probably shouldn't surprise us, but it just doesn't feel like his decision. I mean, we think back to Brady's, father's comments on the radio during the season, like, hey, it's up to Bill. Belichick not saying, like, why wouldn't we want Tom Brady back? Not that you have to, expound on kind of your answer of wanting Brady back in 2020. But that's a pretty easy answer to say, like, yeah, Tom Brady's going to be our quarterback going forward. He doesn't say that. Tom Brady is saying, like, hopefully I'll be back. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's Tom's decision. Feels like New England is trying to figure out, quarterbacks are making upwards of $30 million a year.
Right.
Do we want to pay a 42, 43-year-old quarterback, $20+ million a year when the rest of the league is guys running around at the quarterback position?
Kind of reminds me of Kobe Bryant and his final contract. And, Tom Brady like a son, obviously, to Robert Kraft. It's going to be fascinating.
It will be. Okay, set all that aside because I don't want to overshadow what the Titans did, what Derrick Henry did. 182 yards rushing last night, most by any player against Belichick's Patriots in the playoffs. And happy birthday, indeed, for him.
Yeah.
How important will Henry be Saturday night against the top-seeded Ravens as we move forward?
Well, he's huge. You hear the Titans talk about Derrick Henry. They're like, hey, let's get him to his fourth or fifth step. Because when he gets rolling downhill, no one wants to tackle him. I mean, he literally is a defensive end playing running back. I mean, he's massive. And you just saw guys kind of turn stuff down late in the game, against New England and really all season long. So, facing Baltimore, letting them get creative and bring, various blitz pressures and stuff like that, they're hard to beat. If you can try to bully them, just run right at them. The Titans are better run blocking offensive line group than pass blocking offensive line group. If you can get him to that fourth and fifth step, control the ball, now all of a sudden you're not defending Lamar Jackson as much as maybe you are, if you find yourself with some 3-and-outs, things of that nature. So he's big. He's big against anybody. He literally is big. And so I just think that, that's the advantage.
Be a lot of running the ball. Could be a very quick
game. That game might be like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Exactly, Tim. Thank you so much.
Back need to do to win their game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they need to create offense probably, but they need to get some help from their offensive line by way of pass protection. You go back to the Week 12 matchup, they didn't block anybody, Jeff. Stop pounding your chest. They were terrible on both sides of the ball, and both quarterbacks were hit a bunch. And, talking about the kind of replacement players, if you will, that Philadelphia has on the perimeter and even at the tight end position, depending on the health of Zach Ertz, Wentz is going to need a little time to let guys shake free. And, he held on to the football quite a bit in the first matchup, had a couple fumbles, did have a few, interceptions. And then, Russell Wilson, not all that different, because of injuries at the running back position, some injuries, for them and loss of players for them on the perimeter. I think both quarterbacks are going to really need to create their own offense outside of the design of the play.
Yeah, I tell you what doesn't help was when the Eagles with Brandon Brooks, their guard, and Lane Johnson, their right tackle, both guys being out. Clowney coming back for the Seahawks on the other side, getting healthy. Not the best time they're getting healthy, and you're kind of playing behind the 8 ball as that goes. So from the offensive line perspective, Tim, you made a great point. That's actually how football games are won and lost, in case you don't understand offensive line play. So big day for the offensive line, especially from the Eagles' perspective today.
They've got to score a lot of points, those offensive linemen.
Well, I mean, we have seen that this season
Big
quite
man
a bit.
touchdowns.
You know what
Yes,
I
we
mean?
have.
Actually.
Athletes in
We
space.
sure
That's
have.
what we do.
That's what you call
We
it.
do. Big influence on the playoffs.
Let's get to a different athlete in a different game, right? We got the Saints and the Vikings down in the Superdome, and Dalvin Cook has been held out of the final 2 regular season games from Minnesota. He says he's going to be at full strength today against the Saints. How does he match up against the New Orleans defense?
Well, this is what, I mean, you think about the Titans and the Patriots last night and the way they ran the football. That's Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings today. They need to run the ball in the A-gap, straight downhill, be physical gap schemes, have some zone schemes, but just play physical between the tackles, keeping Drew Brees on the sideline, that offense that, can score quick. But this is going to be a key factor for this game. And this has to be said for Vrabel. When they sat Derrick Henry for the Saints game a couple of weeks ago and let him get healed, hopefully Dalvin Cook has the same thing where you're saying if you're not, no one's 100%, but you're as close as you can be at this time in the season. That is a big deal for this offense. It doesn't go without him.
People need to realize with Dalvin Cook, he runs with plenty of power, but his speed is the thing that I think when defenses face him, they don't realize how fast he is. Some players, you get on the field and then you see them just eating up angles by the defenders. Right. Because they're not used to that guy's speed at that position. That's how Dalvin Cook is. He's got a different gear at the running back position than most backs. That's what separates him and makes him special. So, him being healthy, I think ends up being really significant. For everything that Jeff just said, plus his speed is just a whole nother element compared to the other backs who are good backs for Minnesota. And then you think about some of the play action stuff that comes off of it.
Right.
That's where they get a lot of their big plays.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if Cook is somewhat bottled up, what's your level of confidence in Kirk Cousins to be able to carry the offense?
I think Kirk Cousins has gotten a bad rap. He's a good player. I think that we've probably put too much on some of these big moments for Kirk Cousins.
It's a big moment today.
Of course it is, and like it is for all of these guys, But so when you look at it, I think Kirk Cousins will play well. Yeah. I think it's a tall task to go into that building with that type of noise.
Who wins that game?
I think the Saints win the game in their own building with the energy there, with a banged up Viking secondary. I just think it's going to be too much, and we'll talk about it like it's because it's Kirk Cousins, but I think it's the matchups.
And listen, Kirk Cousins was running for his life. I mean, so if your offensive line didn't block, I don't care how good a quarterback you think you are. If you can't set up and stand, offensive line wins games. We'll talk about it again.
Right, exactly.
Saints win today.
Amazing job of blocking by that
Seahawks.
Texans offense last night. Go ahead.
Eagles, Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Ooh, I like it.
I think it's similar to the last game.
I want to go Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, finally we got a difference.
Yes, finally.
Saturday is back with us. And yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There are a lot of questions to be asked this offseason for the Patriots. But some of that is, do the Patriots want Tom Brady back? But does Tom Brady want to go back to the Patriots? So to sort of make it look good, what do the Patriots need to do to want him to come back? They want to come back.
Yeah. I mean,
am I speaking still?
You're still going. You have to give him weapons on the outside. I mean, you have to give him the ability to perform at the level he has in the past, and that's not there right now. I mean, you think about Josh Gordon being gone. You think about Antonio Brown, who was there just for a short time and back out. But there's nobody on the outside that scares you, and this honestly has to be a demand from Tom Brady, not a request, because you're seeing a guy who, as the game is evolving and changing and quarterbacks are getting, multiple, like they're going to run it, they're going to throw it, they're going to do all these different things, they can extend plays. That's not Tom Brady. His game's not going to, just evolve overnight. He is a spot passer, right? Where he drops back, everybody knows where he's going to be. So he has to demand those guys being there to help him. Julian Edelman going outside doesn't help him. Obviously, their offensive line was banged up this year, but the demand from Brady has to be, give me some help. Yeah. Like, give me some help. The defense will be good again. They're already set up. I know they're, historically ranked and all those kind of things. But at the end of the day, when you look at this football team and you look at the loss last night, Tom Brady was not the reason they lost the game. Right. So from the Patriots moving on, this is still a really good fit for both he and Brady, but there has to be something. The Patriots have to give somewhere, and that means helping him on the outside in the receiving corps.
Especially from a guy who has not commanded his market rate salary for so long. In order to free up buying power for his team to go ahead and, amass weapons around him. Now, you've been involved in negotiations with Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and this dates back to your time with the NFL Players Association. So how do you see Kraft approaching this situation with Brady now?
Now, it's really interesting. When you think about Robert Kraft, I think from Belichick's perspective, moving on from Tom Brady is a possibility. From Robert Kraft, I do not see that being a possibility. I think Robert Kraft cares so much about the community in New England and what Tom Brady has meant.
It's a family.
Exactly. I mean, think about what Tom Brady has meant to New England. I hear people talk about, well, there's been all kinds of quarterbacks who've moved on. Not that have played 20 years and won 6 Super Bowls in one place with one coach, all the different things. And again, if Tom Brady was the reason you're not winning last night, then I think Kraft and Belichick have a conversation. That was not the case. So if you're looking at, hey, how much can he give you? How much can he help? I think Robert Kraft, the legacy of Tom Brady means too much to the Patriots and Robert Kraft for him to let him walk out the door.
So your gut says he's coming back.
Absolutely.
The Patriots do have money to spend, about $43.5 million this offseason.
That's just a little bit.
It's like middle of the road, though, in terms of the NFL.
And he does it all the time, takes middle of the road. So it's not, that's not a deal breaker.
All right,